And so good.
Your hangout. This hangout on air is live. Okay. All right. Tell me what you see.
I see. Please stand by.
Okay. Good. Should be up here in a second then, and we'll be able to go get this on the road.
Should I send my people this link?
Send it. Let's do it.
All right.
This is loading and there's a countdown. All right.
Should we get this link out there? Do it real big.
What'd you say?
Should we get this link out there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about compose a new tweet. About to live stream the recording of mine and God, this is terrible wording for fuck's sake. Doug Polk Poker podcast right now. Exclusive, unedited. You heard it here first. Doug Polk, Joeingram1, talk poker. You know, I after that like last podcast, I wrote in the description I was gonna do something called like the Poker Life, and then somebody started a goddamn Twitter account called the Poker Life, and they're gonna do a podcast called the Poker Life Podcast. I was so tilted.
Oh man,
I was like,
you.
these fuckers, they
got you good.
These fuckers just took my goddamn idea. All right, whatever.
And maybe that wasn't a coincidence.
I don't think it was.
I mean,
I've seen like 4 podcasts start now. I'm very tilted. All right.
Let me just get this out on Twitter.
Going to live stream the recording of this week's podcast with. I'm gonna put it on Facebook too, so all my real life people can stalk me. About to live stream the recording of this week's podcast with Doug Polk on YouTube. Check it out. Anything you want us to talk about, let me know. Okay. All right. I have it on Facebook now. All right. Now I have to record this. We're set.
Okay.
Yeah, that last podcast, it was like an hour and 50 minutes, so I ended up editing a lot of it to get it to fit in.
Yeah, we talk a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it was a bad idea. It just we talked a lot.
You never have too much material.
Yeah, I didn't really I didn't think about it too much because like some podcasts, if they're really long, people might not want to listen to it. But I think that one, if you listen to like 30 minutes, you probably would end up listening to most of it, assuming you thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that or you wasted 30 minutes.
Exactly. All right, we're on. So let's figure out a way how I'm gonna start this off this one, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right. Oh my gosh, what do I want to say here? Gotta flex a bit for a live stream. Look at that shit, man. Oof. Damn.
I'm getting all hot and heavy over here.
Yeah, I know. You want me to take my shirt off? You see the shirt? Oh, do you see the shirt? Look at the shirt I made.
Honestly,
it says Eat, Sleep, PLO, Joeingram.
For the Joey view, you know?
That's nice, brother. Oh, hey, speaking of views, did you see who's on a recent front page of a Playboy magazine?
I did not.
Is that true? I don't know if that was real or not. I think I saw it pop up on Facebook.
It would be news to me.
Well, we don't name any names, but you know, I think you have an idea who it might be.
I think I may.
Okay.
Actually, I just went to the gym, and that person may or may not have been there.
Are you fucking serious? What are the odds of that?
LVAC, man, in Las Vegas, everyone goes to one gym.
Were you like? What did you think when you saw her? Like, what do you guys think? Do you guys talk? I mean, you guys had a pretty.
Nah.
What's like the relationship? Nah, non-existent.
Non-existent, I think would be.
No.
That's just how it needs to be.
That was such turmoil, for fuck's sake. That was the most chaotic relationship I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, I mean, like between the both of us, it was probably ranked number 2.
No, dude. No way. I
All
think
right.
I think that your relationship was much more chaotic than mine was.
Possible.
Possible. All right, well, let's get into it. Doug Polk, WCGRider, welcome back to another episode of the Power Poker Podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you, Joey. It's good to be back here. I'm doing great.
Good to be back, huh? Well, we're just want to let everybody know if you're listening to this on recording. I still have not got this on iTunes quite yet, but we are also live streaming this recording on YouTube. You'll be able to see my debatably beautiful face, and you'll also be able to hear Doug's voice, hopefully.
I'll tell you what. Next episode, I'll get the webcam out.
No, are you
and
sure?
we can have two bros on cam at the same time.
Just
How about that?
two guys hanging out, having a good time, huh?
Just having a good time.
All right, man. Well, how have you been since we talked last? We recorded the last podcast. Actually, recorded about a month ago, and I put it up about 3 weeks ago. So,
I've been good in the health and lifestyle realm. In the poker realm, on a bit of a downswing.
So I was browsing the high stakes thread, as I sometimes do, looking for PLO hands for my PLO podcast. I'm actually going to sit up while I record this in the live stream. Show off the shirt. I'm just going to show the shirt for like 10 seconds because it's just such a sick shirt.
Good for you.
So what I noticed is that you were playing in some of the high stakes no limit games. How'd that turn out?
I did really well. I had a great month. No, it went badly. I think probably lost something to the tune of a few 100,000 in those games. I think.
Do you think you were a bit rusty from any time off? You think you played well, ran bad? What do you think?
Well, I do think that it was 200, 400, and 300, 600, and that losing 3 or 400K in that is, like 5 buy-ins, 6 buy-ins. So I think that Variance certainly played a role.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I think I probably could have worked a little bit harder on that aspect of my game. But all in all, I think it was okay. I'm okay with strategy that I played in that.
So how do you think your six max game is currently? Because obviously, when it comes to heads up no limit, you're debatably one of the best in the world still. But when it comes to six max, sometimes people might say that you're not a very strong six max player. How do you feel about that?
Well, my six max results historically have been, at least in the past year or two, have been positive. Now, I've not been winning at like the clip of probably like the better players, and I certainly wouldn't say that six max NL is my strength. But my win rate has been positive, and I think overall I play like a fairly balanced, strong style. So I don't really have any problems with that, particularly in the higher stakes lineups, because at something like 2550, there might just be 5 or 6 regs kind of battling it out. But for 300, 600 to run, there really needs to be a spot. So I think it's a situation where it's kind of low edge, low hourly, ridiculously high variance. So you got to know going into that you can win or lose a lot in a very short period of time.
So do you think you're playing in these games just because you're not getting any action and you're kind of in a way craving the high stakes action, and this is what's running, and like you said, it is low edge but very high variance? So do you think this is the best spot, or do you think it's just a function of that there's just nothing else going?
You play PLO, right?
I do play PLO.
Just kidding. I mean, like, that's kind of a weird question, because like obviously I think I have an edge, and in that lineup certainly I do, and I have a positive win rate in those games. So this isn't like me jumping into, let's say, like higher stakes PLO, or like if I decide to jump in a triple draw or something. This is a game that I have a large sample at and I've done quite well at. So no, I wouldn't really say it's like that.
Okay. Actually, I was reading a comment and I forgot what my initial question was to you. This is the power of the editing. When I actually do the podcast, I realize I can just take everything out. So if I don't have to like worry about doing everything perfect during the actual recording, which is good.
That is the power of editing.
So I think I was going to ask you, so you said that you do think you have an edge. So do you think you have an edge in any seat at the table at a 300-600 game?
Well, it would always depend on the lineup. I think that for the game to run, the answer to that would be yes.
Mhm.
There are theoretical lineups that I would not have an edge in. If, let's say it's the top 5 or 6 guys who just decided that they were going to battle it out, but that doesn't really happen at those stakes.
So every time you've been playing 300-600, there's always been, it's pretty much Malaysia in the game, correct?
Oh, definitely.
So how do you think whoever's playing on the Malaysia account, because obviously we're not, I don't think we're naive anymore where we assume it's the same person playing over and over again. How do you think that account has evolved from when you first started playing 500 1K to playing 300, 600, 200, 400 right now?
I've played a lot with Malaysia. I played a lot in the 400, 800 last year with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays a relatively similar style. Certainly, in terms of frequencies, it's very similar. So I couldn't tell you that I think it's for sure the same person because how do you really know?
Exactly.
But I can tell you that the experience that I've had playing with him, I'm very happy to be in that game.
So obviously you think it's, I mean, anytime a game runs at 300, 600, even if the player isn't terrible, but also even mediocre, it's still probably a spot where you're going to want to be in the future. Is that pretty correct statement?
Yeah, I think how he's playing is very far off of like the theoretically correct style, and I also think that some of the regs in the game that are trying to bum hunt him end up being fairly bad themselves. I mean, on multiple occasions, players like let me think, who's jumped into the game?
Who's been playing? I'll name a few I can remember. Ike, For Haley, the Helicopter Ben guy.
That's Fish 2013.
Fish 2013. So do you think one of those three is playing bad, or do you think it's one of the other people playing bad?
I think you kind of named the stronger players in the lineup. I think the weaker players should be players like Muha.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's proud like a goat. I think that I'm not sure how much work Kanu has been doing on a 6-max game, but he certainly doesn't play the kind of volume or have the results of the other players. And yeah, I mean, like sometimes like Phil Galfond jumps in there, or one of the Dang brothers, or any of those guys. If they jump in, they're probably going to be a weaker spot as well. So overall, I'd say like I'm probably second or third in the lineup, and definitely winning. It's just you're going to have massive swings. Like last year when I played the 400, 800, I think like right out of the gate I lost like 500 or 600K in like the first 2 days. Like just both days, just lost that much money. And really, like that's 10 buy-ins. So you kind of gotta just be aware of the variance and not get too upset when things go badly.
Yeah, I think it's hard for most people to be aware of that in real time. That if we're playing 2-4 and we lose $4,000, we're down 10 buy-ins. But when we're playing 200, 400, we lose 10 buy-ins. We're down 400,000, and that 400,000 loss just crushes our soul sometimes while we're playing. Whereas that $4,000 loss when we were working our way up at 2-4, that doesn't necessarily hurt as much. When in reality, it's the same exact thing.
I think the reason that it hurts more is that there's much more opportunity cost when you lose at the higher stakes because you don't get the same amount of games, and it will directly affect how much of yourself you can have moving forward. So I think it is a bigger loss, even if in terms of buy-ins it's the same, just because I'm not going to have a chance to play 300, 600 with, however much of myself every day. I'm not going to have a chance to kind of grind through like a statistical or a large statistical sample in order to kind of get to my true win rate. So, yeah, it is tough to lose that much money, and in buy-ins it's the same, but you can't downplay the opportunity cost.
This actually brings up an interesting thing I was thinking about when a couple weeks ago Durrrr and Phil Galfond played 300, 600 PL. They played 4 tables. I think Durrrr won about 1.2 million.
That was a smackdown.
Right. Now, obviously, at this time, I was really excited thinking maybe we got a WCG Durrrr 1 battle coming on, but then I guess he sent $1 million to Saniker, I believe is what was rumored in some of the chat. so you didn't get your chance. But what you just said was something I was thinking of, which was why did Phil decide that this would be a good time to play those games when there isn't really anything else going? If he loses, he has to play 2550, which this is what he ended up doing. He played 2550 Zoom and 5100 Zoom when it actually ever ran on Stars to make that back. So why put yourself in a position to have $1 million loss when you don't have any chance to make that back?
Well, I think you have to look at it as an individual instance, and you have to look at it like, do I like my edge here versus Isildur in this game? And if the answer to that is yes, then you got to take it, man, even if you don't have the opportunity to make it back. I don't know how much Phil had of himself. I don't know how much Phil's bankroll is. I obviously assume he had a lot of himself and that Phil is a very successful poker player, so he probably has a lot of money. But, I think that getting an opportunity to play Victor in a game where you're supposed to be kind of a specialist, I think that that's just a very good opportunity. And also, Galfond has been playing a lot of the 2K, 4K triple draw games, and to my knowledge, he's already made back a substantial portion of the loss.
So have those games been running consistently? I don't really follow. I don't know how to read those when I'm.
2K, 4K has been running essentially every day. I haven't checked for the past week or so, but 2K, 4K has been running extremely consistently.
Well, I guess that might have came into his decision to actually decide to play that. I guess probably he was surprised that Isildur would play him. I'm sure he wants to play Isildur every day if the possibility was there, but it was kind of just right place, right time. He happened to be around a computer that he could play PokerStars on, and Isildur decided to play him. So.
Right. So I'm looking at Phil's past 30 days on high stakes DB, which who knows how accurate it really is.
Right.
But in the past month, he's down 300K. So, that's not actually that bad. And when you have a large bankroll and can play in like the 2K, 4K triple draw games, it's a much more reasonable, I guess, quote unquote, shot to take, even though he's probably played those stakes for a very long time. But yeah, you can't really make decisions based off of will you get the future action. You just need to figure out what your stop loss should be, how well bankrolled you are, and then kind of make the right decision based off of your own personal situation.
So when you were watching that match happen, were you watching that match go down?
Yeah, I was sweating it.
I'm sure you were. Okay, can you take me inside of your mind during the match? Take me from the beginning of the match to the middle to the end. What's your thought process during this match?
Well, I actually came into the match as far as, being a railbird. I started watching the match about halfway through, mainly because someone hit me up on Skype and was like, yo, you should probably be aware of this. Isildur's up like 500K on Galfond. So that meant, we are going to be on the computer 24/7. Whatever, is happening, sleep, food, whatever, that can wait. We're going to have to be on full alert. So I pulled up. Sure enough, there's just a total smackdown going on, and it kind of reminded me of that day actually where I lost 1.2 million to Isildur. I guess everyone has their day for that, right? But yeah, anyway, so
everybody I know has lost 1.2 million a day. That's just people I know. I don't know who you hang out with, but the people I know, that's.
You're just such a powerful person. Your friends, man. Anyway, so I'm sweating it, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and I'm hoping that I get a match afterwards, but it just never materialized. And I think that Victor, he kind of has a few different modes that he plays in, and when he's winning, he plays substantially better than when he's losing. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if towards the end of that match, Victor was had quite the edge there. It's hard to really say, but certainly he ran well, and certainly that's the kind of day where things can kind of swing pretty epically. I'm just a little bit sad it didn't go down like that.
Yeah. So were you thinking during this match that you're gonna lose $1 million or win $1 million sometime soon?
I was just hoping he sat me.
You're praying. You're well, he might be on a confidence boost here. Yeah. Hopefully he sits me. We have some fun.
We actually played a little bit of 501K.
I think I saw that. What was that about? Was it a scheduled match? Did you guys talk? Was it just he sat you, played a couple hands?
I think he sat me a couple different times, and we played Nothing too crazy. I don't remember. I can't even remember if I won or lost. Maybe I won 100K. I don't exactly remember.
Hmm.
But yeah, like he sat me like on a couple different occasions, and so I got something out of it, I suppose. But it's kind of sad that online poker is in the state where it's one guy that I have to root for, and that like if he does well, maybe I'll get action.
That's actually that kind of ties in with one of the viewers' comments where they just said is why don't we see any battles lately? Why don't we see any battles lately, in your opinion?
Who's gonna battle?
I agree, but why? Why do you think? You think it's
I
just
think
become at this point no one wants to play because there's no
I,
reason in a way?
I think that poker has changed a little bit in the past. Let's say, well, I mean, it's changing every year, right? But
Hmm.
it's changed pretty significantly in the past 2 to 3 years, where nowadays there's less action and there are less games going where as a specialist you can make money back should you lose, and there's less people that are willing to play other regs because they know that the edges are smaller. So in order for someone to want to play kind of like the old school days where it was basically like, heads up for rolls, someone's going broke tonight, like they have to reload to like the cents on the final reload. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of days are just gone because if you lose most of your bankroll, how are you going to get it back? Where are you going to play? Who are you going to play? It's going to be a very long, tedious process. And I think a lot of players have reached a point where they're just tired of going through that. They don't really want to have to like start back from the bottom, and they don't know if they have an edge or not. So they just kind of take it the conservative route. I mean, the real problem is right now it's a complete free roll to sit tables. It's a complete free roll. If you can get a table, you should just sit it because if you get someone that's bad, you play them. If you don't get someone that's bad, you don't play. So there's no reason for someone to not just sit there and be like, oh, I'm just going to take this table and then like just see what happens. I think if we want to see kind of the battling come back, we want to see people, you know, kind of duke it out like back in the day. I think that what you're really going to need to do is you're going to need to incentivize people to do that. I mean, there needs to be something in the lobby. I mean, Stars made a few steps that kind of fixed a few problems. Like um, obviously they decreased the amount of tables that are allowed to spawn at 5100 and 20 by 50 to where it caps at 10. So that helps things slightly, but there's not always 5 to 10 really good players online. Sometimes, like, some very bum hunting orientated players from 5, 10, 10, 20 can snag a 5100 table. Like I see it all the time. Like the other day, I saw 5 people snake 5100, and it was just like the most LOL lineup of like bum hunting regs, and like they just all get a 5100 table. So if we want to see well, the first thing is it will never be like it used to. It's never going to be just like people like throwing fists and just like going broke on the felt. Like that's just not going to happen anymore. But if we want to see a return to more matches and more people playing and more battling, you need to correctly incentivize the players to do so. And right now, that just doesn't exist.
So, do you think that at some point in time, when the United States becomes more prevalent, if it starts to, that this action, because I think a lot of the battling before, for the most part, was kind of Americans. You know how Americans are; they get really excited about themselves, and they always have something to prove for the most part. So, do you think as that starts to become
I like that you say that, like, because we're two very quiet, humble Americans, right?
definitely, I don't think quiet would be a word used to describe me. You humble. I mean, I'm a lot more humble now. Like when I speak to people, I guess living in the suburbs for these past 6 months has made me just a lot more humble about who I am as far as how I handle myself when I talk to people, and I never try to like act like someone is beneath me or like that type of thing, because that's how some people I think they get really good at something like poker. They make money at it. All of a sudden they think the guy who works in the office is a fucking like a joke to life or something like that, or you know what I mean? Like they start seeing these people and they immediately have a negative opinion, look down on them, and that's something that I think being in this setting.
Start to feel very entitled.
Definitely.
Which is definitely a bad way to view things, but yeah, Americans definitely do kind of like to get in there and like talk some shit and call people out.
For sure. Do you think that
I mean, how many heads up and L challenges have there been? There's been 2, and how many were Americans in those? All of them. So
well, let me think about that. Are we talking about how many heads up challenges finished, or are we talking about how many heads up challenges started and aren't finished? Which one are we talking about?
I guess both, right?
Right. I remember we spoke on that last time. Has anything happened with that between the Durrrr and Jungle Man challenge?
I have not heard anything, and I really have no idea. Yeah. But at this point, I would be really surprised to see that finish.
Yeah. I think we talked about this last time. So what do you think's gonna? You think if you change your opinion? Last time you said that you think Durrrr has incentive to finish. You think he will finish, but obviously I don't think he's gonna finish.
I mean, like every day it seems less likely. But what's confusing to me is that there are stipulations in place where he has to pay certain amounts for dodging, and like unless I mean, who knows? Maybe he's making a ton of money in Macau. I have no idea. But unless he's just planning on like permanently being on like the jungle payment plan, I don't understand the situation really.
Well, I've heard this as well, and someone in the comments mentioned this. I heard Durrrr is broke and is staked for everything. Obviously, there's only speculation. We probably both read, maybe heard from some people. Do you have any comments on that? Have you heard anything about that at all? Is there anything you know about that?
I mean, Durrrr, like, I really don't know his financial situation, and I don't really cross paths with him too much. But it seems to me that he's definitely in a worse spot than he used to be. That's for sure. When I was in Australia, I saw him a couple times. He definitely had money and was like prop betting with Ivy and Antonius and all those guys. So I don't know like what situation he's in, and maybe he's doing great. It's really hard to tell. But when things are on these untracked Macau
sites,
untracked Macau sites, how are you really going to know?
Sick word. Very nice, my friend. Very nice. They need like a PTR for the Macau live games. They might have that. What if there's the camera that was focused on the game, just tracks all the results?
That would probably be quite the industry for that. I think that you could make some money from that.
I think so. I think if you could figure out a way to.
Joey, suit up. You're going to China. We're sending you in.
I mean, you've been to Macau, right?
Yeah.
What's it like there when you're walking around? Is it just hooker, drugs? What is it?
No, there's no drugs.
There's definitely drugs. You're not probably hanging out in the same parts I'd be hanging out in if I was there. But what's it like? All right.
I think Macau. So for anyone that's not been there, Macau really has this feeling of like. So it's basically Vegas if you took away kind of the lifestyle and like like shows and like kind of the dining, and if you took away like the focus on that and you made the focus more about hookers and being a total fucking degen, that's what Macau is like. I mean, like there's still like there is the Wynn in Macau, and there's did you know the Venetian in Macau is actually the biggest hotel casino in the world?
No, I don't think I knew that.
It's like 450K square feet or something, just completely insane.
That's big.
Yeah, it's real big. It's kind of eerie too because it's very similar to the one in Vegas. So you kind of feel like you're in Vegas, but you're in China.
Except, is it all in like Chinese writing and stuff like that?
No, there's some English there too. But
yeah.
There's a good mix of both. But Macau, like, I couldn't really see myself living there. I could see myself, well, definitely not living there, but I could only see myself being in Macau for like a short stretch if maybe there was like a really appetizing tournament series or something, and maybe I'd stop by. Mm-hmm. But you're really not missing out on a lot by just never going to Macau.
So we're in Macau. Say me and you are in Macau, but we're not playing poker for like a 3-day time span. Like, what exactly would we be doing there? Like, what's there to do? Is it just look at hookers, fuck hookers? What I mean,
I, this is rapidly decaying.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you're having sex with hookers.
No,
You're in a relationship. You're a fucking loyal guy. Yeah, we're talking about
yeah.
if
Well,
me and
I
you
hope
were
they're
there
back
single, what would we?
yeah, I hope they're back more in my youth. But other than the spas and poker, I don't really know what you're doing. I mean, I was only there for like 3 or 4 days, so
Hmm.
I actually have like kind of a funny story. So when I was in Macau, I had just been in Japan, and basically I had used my credit card at whatever place, and apparently that place, all of their credit cards got hacked. So my
Oh,
credit card just got canceled. So I had $0. I had no money. So like I was in Macau, and I like literally had the U.S. equivalent of $80 in my pocket, and I had to like kind of ration out meals and like what was I gonna do? And then meanwhile, I had like my first like 100K day in like a while online, but I had completely no money, and I had to have like a friend like come to the airport when I got back to Hong Kong to like basically pay the $25 fee to get my like bag on a plane.
so yeah, it's what year was this? Was this 2013, 2014?
No, this was 2012, I think.
Well, 2012 was weird. They actually had something called Western Union, and it's a thing where you can send money across the world. Were
Is
you?
that how you scam people?
Yeah, I think that's how I almost got scammed when I tried renting an apartment when I moved
Right,
for the
right. No,
first time.
yeah, I mean, like, I just like whenever I hear Western Union, I just think about all the Nigerian princes that are trapped and locked up.
Do you ever think about all the women that you know from around the USA who might live an alternative lifestyle that have guys send them money? They usually use Western Union as well.
The more you know.
Are
I
you,
learn a new thing every day
are you
talking to you,
aware of that?
Joe.
Okay, I mean, I've been in, I don't know. I'm not saying I've been in a situation like that before
No,
where
no,
I've
definitely, of
known a
course.
girl and,
No
and we
way.
were talking and maybe we hung out in a certain city. I was in a different city. I had a good day. She's like, I'll come see you. Can you send me $400? I've been tempted. I haven't done it, but I've been tempted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't really know what you mean.
You definitely know what I mean. I have to edit this out. I don't remember. I lost my train of thought, but let me
What
think.
happened to your morals, man?
I have morals, but I had a lot of
I
fun.
thought I thought you play I thought you played PLO.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do? When you're a professional PLO player, you're supposed to live the degenerate lifestyle as
True.
full as you can. And I mean, I never really like met a hooker before though. Like I just know about hookers, and I like to say hookers, drugs, and blow and stuff like that in my YouTube videos, or I used to. But I mean, I don't really need to pay for sex when you go out and meet women. It's really easy to meet women. You know that.
Yeah, no, you definitely don't have to.
You know. Speaking of meeting women.
Especially with a sweet body like
No,
that,
oh
right?
my God, I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
Well, it helps. That's what I try telling people that are maybe in less than superior shape. I'm like, listen, you want to get better at women, the number one thing you can do is get in shape. No girl has ever
I'm
been
gonna
like, take
disagree.
what?
I'm gonna just disagree with you.
Okay, you're gonna give me some PUA shit, aren't you?
I mean, like, if you want to get better with women, the first thing to do is to talk to women.
Okay, well,
I mean, like,
besides talk, if
there's just so much bullshit out there about like talking to girls or like you need to do this, you need to wear that. But like, I mean, what it really boils down to is like if you're not putting yourself in spots to make some chips, you're not gonna stack anybody.
okay, so let's say we're at that point. We're out there. We're getting out there. We're throwing out a reel. We're trying to, reel them in, but it's not working. Then the first thing I would say to some people is work out. No girls. You never took off your shirt, had a nice body, and no girls ever been like, I hate your body. Every girl likes a guy with a nice body. That just I think anything you can do to enhance yourself. I think we're talking about hooking up with girls here, going on like dating girl for a
Well,
couple weeks. We're
I
not talking
think
about finding a wife or something like that.
I think it's definitely helpful. You obviously can't argue anything else, but I think on the list of what's important, I would rank it. I would rank it actually a little bit more of like a middling.
Doug,
Um, a middling asset rather than like the primary one.
Doug, you said something I like. You said a list. Let's hear it. Give me a list.
Give you a list?
Give me a list, kid. What's the list? Well,
So,
top five most important
five,
things.
Top five list for what's important to sleep with women, or to
attract a woman to want to either sleep with you, go on a date with you, improve your chances of sleeping with you on a date, maybe finding a girlfriend. And before we start, I just want to. People might be confused. Why is this heads up, no limit, debatably one of the best in the world talking about women? Does he know women? Does he meet women? Like, where is his credibility? What's his source? I just want to walk people through your credentials here. So Doug Polk, 6'4", grew up in California.
6'3".
6'3". I like you as 6'4". I really do. Grew up in California. Started playing online poker. When he first started playing online poker, he might have not had the best success with women. But what happened? He started doing well at poker. He decided to venture into the PUA pickup artist lifestyle. And once he ventured in there, he realized, one, it was easy to pick up women. Two, it helps being 6'4" and having a bit of money to pick up women. And then he started dating Playboy semi-playmates and has been known to be able to attract women in any setting. There's your credentials. Let's hear the list.
Thank you. My credentials precede me. Anyway, so
that was off the top of the head. I wish I had a few seconds to think about that.
Thank you. No, that was fairly accurate.
I
guess let's just roll with 6'4". But anyway, I would say that the number one thing when it comes to women is confidence, and I just don't think that anything else is as important, because confidence lets you talk to them. It lets you, be strong in what you're saying. It lets you it's okay to take a swing and miss. It lets you just get in there, and if you don't show up to the plate and swing the bat, you're just never going to hit a home run. So that's just number one, and it's not even close. And I guess if you wanted to kind of put a subset under that, I'd say that the major facet of confidence being the ability just to open, just to go up there and say something. So that's certainly number one. Number two is just absolutely being funny, because if you're funny, you can just get away with so much. So that's definitely number two. I would say with physical attractiveness, I guess I can go with number three on that. I think the first two are definitely more important. And when I'm saying this list, I'm not saying that you could have one or two, but not three at all and do okay. I'm just kind of ranking the importance. So clearly, you're going to need a little bit of everything to kind of put the whole picture together. I would not say having money is important. In fact, if anything, I think that you should not say how much money.
No, I definitely agree with that. I don't think money particularly matters that much until you want to get to a certain type of woman. Then it starts mattering more. But for the most part, it doesn't matter.
I think the main thing that money lets you do is money gives you the freedom to kind of be better at the other categories, because it lets you have nicer things, or allows you the opportunity to work out more, or allows you the opportunity to eat healthy, or allows you the opportunity to be in more scenarios where you don't have to work and you can go ahead and try to meet women or whatever. So I would say that money certainly facilitates the ability just to get into those situations, but in just the essence of having money will get you, with a hot girl, certainly not.
Mm-hmm.
I would say fourth most important thing. I don't really know the way to describe this in one word, but one thing that really is important is the way that you come across, in terms of if a girl thinks you're quote unquote creepy. The moment that you give off the smallest creepy vibe, it's over. It's completely over. It doesn't matter if it happened for 1/2 second where there was just something that you said or one look. The moment that there's even one vibe of that, it's completely done. So I don't know, what term would you say that this you would call this, Joey?
What term would I call creepiness?
But like not being like.
Well,
But,
it's interesting because there was a poker player who I'm not going to name, who I hung out with a lot.
am I gonna know this person?
For sure, everybody knows this person.
Okay.
But, or I mean, not everybody, but some people do. But he put it. He had the first one down. The courage. He had the courage part down to go up to any woman and talk to them. And I know from witnessing this that it takes much more than courage to get the woman anything past that point, because I witnessed this over and over and over and over and over again. And that part is particularly important, the creepiness part, because that was a problem that I felt like he had. And
it's something where it's not really like I'd say like if you need any natural attribute, that's kind of the most important one.
Just
because like
not be creepy.
It's so fickle what makes a girl think that you're just funny and like kind of charming, and then like kind of creepy, because really at the end of the day, all guys are just trying to sleep with you.
For sure.
So why is it that if guy number one comes up and like is like kind of funny and makes a joke and like he wants to like fuck you, that's fine. But guy number two comes up and like he like says like a joke and it's like, well, but then like you just like feel this like weird vibe of like this guy and like, ooh, this guy's creepy, he wants to sleep with me. Like, what the fuck just happened? Like what separates the difference between those two things? And I guess I didn't really I never truly understood that. But kind of my strategy was I thought that it was very, very important to come across like you're funny and joking. You joke a lot and like you're just having a good time and like make fun of them and like obviously you want to sleep with them, but you do it in a way where you try to joke about it, or you joke about how much they want to sleep with you, but like I don't think they're getting lucky tonight or something like that. You just basically joke with them, and like as long as you keep it like really open and friendly and funny, I really never had a problem with that. But the moment that you try to go like too serious, I think you really have to like watch out from borderlining onto creepy.
Well, I mean, I think me and you have a very, 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 very similar approach to how we talk to women, especially as I've gotten a bit older. What? Oh no, I mean, but I just want to add in addition that us being 6'3" and 6'4" respectively helps immensely. Us being tall and in shape probably helps a lot more than we might have think or realize, because that's like an immediate anti-creepy thing in a way. Like if you look above average and you're tall and in shape, you get away with a lot more shit that a guy short and not in shape could ever get away with.
Sure.
Helps a lot.
I mean, like I'm not really in that good of shape though.
But you look like you're in you look like you're in shape. You don't look like you're out of shape. I mean,
right.
Sometimes when you wear like one of your t-shirts that the shirt kind of comes up a bit too much, sometimes a little too tight, you might be able to see your stomach, but I don't know if you don't wear those shirts anymore, right? I remember one time we wore a shirt like that. But I used to wear tight shirts too, except I had a flat stomach, because I was skinny.
All right. I can see you on the webcam.
You guys are married? Can you?
Yeah, I don't really think that was something. Sure, being tall helps.
Sure, being tall and in shape and a Abercrombie and Fitch model like Doug Polk, that helps. I agree.
I actually don't think that played as large of a role for me. I think that it was more about studying and
putting in the hands, putting in the.
Dude, I put in so many hands. Like,
PPT and Sims situations. What works, what doesn't.
No idea how much volume.
Well, can I show the live stream your go-to move?
Yeah, you could show the live stream.
You watching the live stream?
I had the sound off.
Okay, good. All right, well I'm going to show them your move. I've had a chance, luckily, to witness this move a couple times, and I've tried it a couple times at music festivals when I was raging, and
you gonna give him the DP right now?
I can confirm it works so well. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a little walkthrough on the live stream. If you're watching the podcast, I might do something with the video. So you typically want to lift your shirt up and then just shake your ass into a girl like this. then smile, like look at him, smile, like, hey, I'm Doug. Hey, what's up? And then that's it. I witnessed you. I mean, I witnessed you in action pull this off. You stopped. We were walking through a place. You stopped mid-track, started doing this to a girl, and then I don't know. Then she was on a couch sitting on your lap, and I have this in a photo of her sitting on your lap somewhere. So I know this happened, but that was a real.
I mean, like that move
It was
is
an
like.
impressive moment for me.
I mean, it definitely works. You just gotta like just get in there. Yeah, the video just got
Oh, did it? Okay.
I just got the goods. But yeah, I mean, like in loud situations, it's definitely better to have more kind of like touching type moves, I think.
Well, like I said, I did put this move to the test at a couple music festivals along when I went to like 20 music festivals in a year, and I can confirm it worked very well for me. And you may or may not have led to me having quite an interesting night one time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Doug. I think let's all right. Well, we gotta probably should talk about some poker stuff. I mean, some people listening to this are gonna be not in. I mean, maybe they don't like this kind of. Maybe they don't like.
Who knows?
Maybe they don't like women.
But Joey, we're here to talk about what we want to talk about.
I know. It's true. I forgot. Sometimes I like to please, but also I like to have fun. So I know one topic we had. Let's get into that topic. And that topic is, what does the next month and a half hold for you in terms of any potential online poker? And then as the World Series of Poker approaches, what is your plan for events you might want to play? Live cash? Are you going to play the one-drop, $1 million buy-in? Yeah, what are your plans for the next month and a half in World Series here?
Right. So my game plan for now is I'm in Vegas, and I'm probably going to be here for another week or two. I'm kind of up in the air on what my exact departure date will be. But my condo in Vancouver, I'm renting until the end of May. So you're definitely going to see me back playing online on Stars in probably a couple weeks, and I'll probably just ride that out till near the end of May. Now, after that, I'm really planning on grinding some WSOP events this year. I don't know why I'm doing that to myself, but I'm planning on it.
Oh my god.
So I'm thinking definitely a lot of like the 10 and the 25K no limit ones for sure. The one drop originally I was going to play, but I just lost, I mean, like, I don't know, close to $1 million, like over $1 million. So I'm feeling a little less happy about joining into some $1 million tournament. And then when you add into the fact just like how much you have to sell and like organizing the money and figuring everything out, I'm kind of on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of on the fence. So may or may not. Might make kind of a game time decision when it gets a little bit closer.
So, I interrupted you first time. I know we talked about the interrupt. Some people said that I interrupted you on the podcast. I'm good. That was my first fucking podcast I ever did with another person. When you said some things, I was interested. I was like, tell me more. I want to learn more. And some people were like, you interrupted him. I'm like, yeah, no shit. This is the first fucking time I've ever done a podcast with somebody else. Of course I'm not a professional podcaster where I'm gonna, do the perfect transitions and everything like that. Like, I play PLO and I'm a borderline degenerate. Like, of course I don't know how to interview somebody or talk with somebody.
Liberal usage of the word borderline.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not as much. Yeah, I mean, man, you know what? Honestly, like, I could turn into a drug addict any day if I wanted to. If I could just get into that. If I wanted to just become a massive, super degenerate PLO gambler again, I could probably do that too. But I've done really well at controlling myself and my inhibitions that come up.
We both went through that phase though.
Which phase? The
party a lot.
Doug, I mean, I don't think I knew too much about the partying phase you went through, because you were always in that very tumultuous, whatever the word is, relationship, and I was never sure when you were actually single or not, and it seemed like you were all of a sudden in a relationship with Caitlin again. The next time I kind of noticed, but I mean, there was a year and a half where I was like off the radar and in my own world, so I'm not quite sure. So you had that time?
Yeah, I think I had that time when I was about 20, 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went through kind of a smaller version of it, I guess a year and a half, 2 years ago. But yeah,
Let's not get into specifics for that. I don't know. I'm pretty sure like
it's all good.
we can talk about that off the podcast. So back to the World Series schedule. So you said that you're gonna play some 25K and 50K events.
I said 10 and 25.
10 and 25.
If there are 50s, that makes sense. I'm a little annoyed. Actually, this kind of combines both topics. I'm a little bit annoyed because the 10K heads up event is actually, if I make day 2, it would be during EDC.
I know. The only 6max kilo event starts on day 1 of EDC, or starts on day 1 or day 2 of EDC. And
so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like.
Nope, don't play. Please don't play.
Two table.
Please don't play.
And I'm just gonna like, whenever I bust. I mean, like day 2 of a heads up tournament, by the way, is pretty deep. Like, I would have to go into round like 4 or 5 to even miss like one artist. Right.
Hold on. Like, I gotta pause this just quick. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Okay. Talk to the live stream listeners.
All right. I'm gonna answer some questions.
Yeah. Go through the. We can save that for the recording too, but you can just talk about whatever. We'll go back to them.
All right, guys. Feel free to send in your questions. I'm actually gonna go through, talk about a couple of the questions that were asked here, and go from there. So I did not see the Dan Bilzerian episode, so I cannot talk about that. Thoughts on Skywalker and the other Sit-n-Go bums? I have been playing some Sit-n-Gos lately. I've been playing a lot of the 2K and the 5Ks on Star/Full Tilt, and it's been going pretty well overall. I think I'm winning at like 1 or 2% ROI, as well as paying all the rakes, so it's going pretty good. I would say overall, I am fairly unimpressed with the Sit-n-Go pool. They seem very weak, and they seem like they haven't really done enough research on their own game type. Now, Skywalker in particular, I'm actually down a ton to at 20 BB cap. We played 20-50 with a crossbook, and I lost a lot of money in that. So I would say he's good, and I would say that there are a couple other guys that seem relatively solid, like Mr. Green. But all in all, I don't think that player pool is very strong. So especially when you compare that to the deep heads-up regs, where the average player, I think, is much stronger and much tougher in a lot of the spots. So those are my thoughts on that. Let's see. Does Doug have any interest in joining the Deuce and mixed games in the future? I would not entirely rule that out. I think that I would need to spend a lot of time to feel comfortable in that environment, and I currently don't really know what the path to that would be. So if there's someone that I end up like maybe being able to work with, or I take a passion for it, then maybe that day will come. But for now, probably going to be sticking to the political streets. Welcome back.
Oh, hello. They said, don't I have a bottle for that? Check this out, boys. This is some next level shit bottle right here. I stopped using the fucking the noobs. They use the Gatorade bottles and the Vitamin waters. Like, they use this. They use these bathroom. I only drink this stuff to get something to pee in, obviously. But this is what it is. It's like the pee lead. I haven't thought of a name. It's like it's got a big hole. It's just massive. It takes a couple in there if you're playing like a 12-hour session and you don't want to go to the bathroom. Even though I have the bathroom right behind me.
I have never gone to the bathroom while playing.
I've never. What do you mean? Like, what does that mean?
Gatorade bottle status.
Wait, where do you pee? You don't go to the bathroom? You've never. What do you mean? You've never gone to the bathroom while playing ever?
I mean, like I leave the computer, I sit out at my tables, and I go to the bathroom, and I come back.
No.
I'm good.
Is that true?
That is true.
Why? That's dumb.
Because I play like 2 tables with like normal one person.
You just put a bottle like literally right here. You just go. It's easy.
Yeah.
Going to the bathroom, that shit's for noobs. Going in the bottle, shit's for the pros, man. You just take it out, piss in the bottle, and you start pouring out of the bottle. That's a line from one of my YouTube videos I said. Okay, well, okay, all right. What are we talking about here? I don't remember.
World Series of Poker.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you said, you said that, I'm going to pause for dramatic effect. So you said that day 2 is during EDC weekend. So you're going to EDC 100%.
Oh, for sure.
Which means that we're going to be in the same group.
Oh, it does mean that we're going together.
Yeah, I don't know who you're going with. I'm inviting myself along. I'm going.
Wow.
I almost went with you last year, but my Vancouver group was with us, and I think I texted you one day. I was thinking about going because the party bus we took was kind of like terrible and kind of chaotic and it was really hot. But this year, for sure,
last year I actually organized like a bus and a lot of people, and I think on day one we had like 25 people go.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not dealing with that again.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
It's just way too much, and like it's such madness when you're there.
Very.
So you're just cramming 100K people into like a NASCAR stadium.
Yeah. Well, so for that, what are you thinking about getting there? Do you want to do a car, helicopter? I'm in for either. I did helicopter last year. I think I told you that.
I don't think I can make a helicopter work because I already have too many people that need to join us.
Oh, okay. So what do you get? What do you think about doing?
Actually, like
bus again?
Yeah, bus is actually not that bad if they know the right route to take.
Well, you have to tell them the right route because last year the route. I mean, it's like coming home. It's just such chaos.
I actually had a problem coming back from EDC last year where, so they were supposed to pick us up at like 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they came at 4 a.m. And also, just to add to the chaos, your phones don't really work while you're there.
Right.
So they came at 4, left, and then like I get out there at 5:30, 5:45. My phone is working, and they say, "Oh yeah, it already came and left." So then they like tell me that like there's another ride for me in the parking lot that'll be there in 5 minutes. I walk over, we see it. As we're walking up, it just drives away with a different group of people, and I'm on the phone with the guy, and I'm like, "Hey, like I can see it, the car." He's like, "Oh no, it's not there," and I'm like, "It is there," and I'm watching this car like just drive away right now with a different group of people.
Yeah, I think that's what sometimes happened last year was people would just get in the different bus or whatever, and
yeah, and like it ended up taking like just hours afterwards. Like I think I got home at like 9 or 10 in the morning. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I ended up helicoptering home the last day we went was because the first day was so terrible. Like the drive home was 2 hours, and like you're kind of like coming down, and you're just like people are being loud, and you're like shut the fuck up, and you just want to like chill for a bit, and yeah. It was,
well, I mean, I got some brewskis and just like,
yeah,
a couple back, hung out with the buddies, but yeah.
Yeah, but this year I think some of the same Vancouver people are going, but I think me and you are gonna have a much more enjoyable time there. So
I'm sure we'll hang out.
Well, I know what we did last year was like we'd set up that spider in the middle as a meeting place, and we'd like pick a couple designated times over the day.
I actually run into people at EDC that play poker like all the time, which is crazy because there's 100K people there.
Right.
But I've run into Ansky there twice. In the past 3 years I've gone
really?
on 2 different EDCs, I've run into Ansky, and I don't know Ansky at all.
That's super random.
Yeah. I went with King Dan one day, and then the final day when I was leaving like the stadium, I ran into him as well.
You must not be that turned up while you're there because like I literally I ran into somehow Greggy last year and his girlfriend just like when I was going to the bathroom and I was super fucked up. But I don't even like, see anybody there. I don't know how people do it. Like they run into I don't even.
Oh man, us people.
I don't know how you
how do we do it?
How do you guys do it, man? All right, so back to the World Series events. So you said you want to play some 10K and 25K events, correct?
Yeah, I think there's a mixed max right at the start that it's either 10 or 25. I'm planning on playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna play some of the smaller tournaments. Definitely the 6 max tournaments, possibly the 1 drop, and obviously the main. So yeah, I'm planning on playing like I'd say a decent schedule. I'm not gonna play too much cash on the side. It kind of depends on what's running, obviously. If I get a good spot and some good games are going, then yeah, sure, I'll play that as well. But I don't really like live cash very much. I think it's boring.
I mean, I obviously understand. I fucking hate playing live cash, but don't you think that there's probably a lot of value you could potentially be missing out on by not playing in live cash?
Well, if the argument's going to be value, then doesn't it make no sense not to just be in Canada to play in Poker Stars? Like, why play a single tournament?
Maybe not. Maybe there. I mean, obviously that's debatable. There might be probably more value for you playing some live cash games.
I mean, 25.50.
Aren't there some?
Yep.
There are some higher games that run it at Bellagio and at Aria and
Yeah,
at.
but you're talking about like full ring live versus getting to like 6 tables shorthanded or play in a 5K sit and go or play heads. I mean, like the hourlies are not even close.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's just do a conservative estimate. Let's just say 5100 is running live, which that's a pretty big game for live. It doesn't always run, but let's say 5100 is running, and let's say that like this is full ring, by the way. So your win rate's never going to be like off the charts. But let's just say you're really crushing a game for 5 BB, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's in full ring. That's for people that don't know. In full ring, 5 BB is crushing. So let's just say that, and so you're winning at 5 BB per 100. You average about 30 hands an hour. So it's going to take you like 3.5 hours to play. We'll just say 3 hours to be on the conservative side. So you're going to make $500 every 3 hours. So you're making $130 an hour.
I honestly, I lost you, but there's people that are probably still following what you're saying about the math. So go.
Right, people that were listening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening, but like, I don't I fucking hate live poker.
Okay, anyway, so I'll just keep talking then. So you're looking at like $130, $150, maybe $200 hourly. If the game is especially soft, let's say you're winning at 10 BBs, then yeah, maybe you're winning at more like 300 or 400. But like my online, at let's just say 5-10 heads up, I make more than that, man. Like I make more. Like my hourly 5-10 heads up is probably between $500 and $600. If I get 10-20 match, it's probably 4 digits. If anything runs a 25-50 or I get a heads up match there, it's probably substantially higher. So I don't think that if you're going to take a look at it from purely a value stance, I don't think that it makes sense to even be in Las Vegas. I don't think it makes any sense. I think the reason that I'm here is because, first off, my home is here. Second off, my girlfriend lives here. Third, I love Vegas over the summer because my friends are here. People like come stay with me. Lots of great places to eat. EDC, like tons of great reasons to be here. And then I play WSOP events because, first off, it's very good for your image to win live tournaments, and second off, it kind of breaks the monotony that is the online cash grind.
That actually brings me to you segued into a question I had about the tournaments. So, do you feel? I already know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I know some people out there are probably thinking this.
Okay.
Do you think that you have an edge in these 25K, 10K, 50K tournaments?
I don't know, man. They're pretty good.
But I mean, when we look at your actual tournament results, which I know you like to go with results, I don't think your tournament results have any history. Obviously, I don't think you play a lot of tournaments as well, and the sample size is pretty small. But do you think that you're just playing them because you do play high stakes and you're confident in your high stakes, heads up game or 6-max game that you think that essentially in any no limit game you're gonna have an edge no matter what the buy-in is or no matter.
Well, I mean, I do have like $1 million in cashes this year.
In cashes?
Yeah.
Kid, you gotta tell me about these things. What do you think I'm a professional? Well, one time, I gotta head in my bro.
It's called Google. It's like
Kid, what do you think I'm looking things up? Think I did research for this? Come on, man, I just got on here.
Okay, well, in short, I think that's a hilarious question, and you're cute.
770K? What the?
What happened, man?
4th place, $100,000 challenge. Yeah. 2nd place, Bellagio. How'd you get 2nd place in the Bellagio High Roller?
I mean, I was playing poker, and I was playing it pretty well.
Okay, so in approximately 4 years of results, we have 6 tracked caches.
Okay, right, but I mean, how many tournaments?
LOL sample size. I agree with you.
This is just ridiculous.
So you're one of those? Are you one of those tournament guys who wins one tournament or binks a high place in a tournament? All of a sudden, he's like Ryan Reese playing every 100K. I think he's got an edge, and I think he's the best player in the world.
All I said.
Are you sure you're not doing that?
You told me I had no cashes, and I told you I cashed for almost $1 million this year. And those are just all straight facts. So I'm not doing anything. Well, I'm not proclaiming anything about anyone.
I mean, I already know you're gonna win something this summer. You run so good. I already know it's gonna happen.
I'm hoping so. I'm on a big downswing, man.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens with you this summer, kid.
So
I think like you said, winning a tournament It's just going to help solidify your.
It's important, and I don't make the rules. I don't decide that it's important, but for some reason, winning live tournaments is a major part of being a professional poker player, and it just gets you notoriety for whatever reason.
I agree. Do you have any televised or anything that was recorded for like cash games or anything coming out anytime soon?
I was on the 1K, 2K cash game in Australia,
Mm.
and I know that was recorded, but I'm a little disappointed. I tried to find the one from last year, and apparently that's not out yet, so I wouldn't hold your breath.
I think you're right. I used to really like watching that. I think the last time they had it, it was terribly produced, and it was like 2 episodes. So, I mean, I really hope that we get a chance to see that. Did you do? I think you might have mentioned this somewhere. I don't remember how you did. I think you played a really big pot and you lost it, I believe.
That is correct.
Like a 900K pot or something? Is that true?
I think it was 700K.
Was
yeah.
it? I'll have to get the details of that off. I don't think you're allowed to talk about
Hopefully,
that, right?
it was a cool hand, and there's some other cool hands in there too. I'm really hoping the video comes out, just so that, like, I think that like a lot of people at those stakes, they just generally kind of play nitty. But I really just tried to play it like, this is my normal game. I'm going to try and bluff appropriately. I'm going to just value bet appropriately, and I'm just going to kind of like not give like a fuck that this is 1K, 2K. I'm just going to do my shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that it comes across like that if the footage ever gets aired. Because I was also on the final table of the 100K that I cashed in it was also recorded, and that just blew because it was essentially a turbo, and I ran card dead, and it's a goddamn tournament. So like, there's no like, oh sick, he opened ace nine suited.
I know.
Like. Check out this sick ace two suited 3-bet on the button. So that'll be cool to actually have like the cash game footage as opposed to me just like folding off my stack for 3 hours and people thinking that I'm a nit.
Yeah, it sounds like obviously you do want people to get a chance to see you play in maybe a couple different formats, just so that way I think that does bring a bigger respect for you from the whatever you want to call the people that follow poker. Even I think professional poker players, like I think they might even be winning poker players, but they're unaware that they still think if you don't have any tournament results, or if you play tournaments and you don't have tournament results, like they look down on your game for some reason. And obviously
right. No, tournament results are important. They're important, and I don't understand it, but I think it's more marketable. I think like if you win a tournament, they can say, look, it's the XYZ champion, and then you're like, I'm the champion, and you have a trophy and like a big pile of cash, and like everyone can see that. They see that you're the champion, and then they see the big pile of cash. Whereas like you play online, they're like, oh yeah, this guy's the sickest. He wins at 4.2 EBBB in like the toughest full ring lineup.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you look it up. Do you remember back in the day in like 2006, 2007, like watching High Stakes on Poker Stars, which was 25.50? Do you remember that?
That was amazing.
And I remember watching ADZ every goddamn day and being like, wow, that guy's the sickest. I still remember those days.
So, wait, are we saying ADZ's not the sickest now? Are we saying ADZ's not sick at poker, not sick at life? Because
he's certainly in the mix.
You listen to him, he's the sickest person in life that exists.
Yeah. On his top 10 ranking, he's probably at the top.
He's number one at life, ADZ, on ADZ's top 10 list.
Number one. Yeah, but no, like I think live tournaments, they get kind of more at the public draw to kind of the average casual user, and I'm really trying to play a more aggressive role in, I guess, kind of like my brand and marketing myself this year. Mm-hmm. So that just means me trying to like win a bracelet, which, like, it's going to be boring, and I'm going to have to just get in there and like play some hands, but that's just what I got to do at this stage of my career.
Doug, you are an amazing seguer, because I'm glad you brought that up, the idea of a poker brand. Because, as someone earlier in the live stream comments mentioned, They mentioned a man named Dan Bilzerian, who he's been quite on the assault lately in terms of his poker brand. He's obviously, if you read some articles that have come out recently, he's a self-made from poker multi-millionaire.
Right, self-made.
Self-made from poker.
No,
He lives the poker lifestyle that you only dream about. And this has been getting a lot of notoriety lately. And I think it's amazing for poker. I mentioned this, there's a 2+2 thread about him where it's just mainly people bashing some part of him or some part of his persona or that type of thing. But I responded that I think this is great. Like, the more articles that are written about him, there was the video that came out about him on All In Mag that they did. I thought that was amazing because if I had like access to do like a documentary behind the scenes kind of thing like they did with that well produced, I would love to do something like that. But I mean, I just don't really have the access to that type of thing. But he mentioned that, poker needs people that are having fun or being portrayed as fun, being portrayed as characters. And I can't agree more. I think he's great for poker. I think there's people that watching him, looking at his Instagram with, all the debatably or not debatably paid women that are appearing naked on his, on his feed constantly and stuff like that. I think that really inspires a lot of people that like, wow, this guy made all his money from poker. And obviously, me and he didn't make all his money from poker, but most people that are reading about him think he literally made all his money from poker. He lives in Hollywood. He has a Lamborghini. He has all these cars. He hangs out with these women because he's good at poker and he makes all this money. So, like, what are your thoughts on him, his poker brand, the way he's approaching himself and making himself more well-known through Instagram and that type of thing?
Well, I want to kind of go back a little bit before we talk about that. So just about Dan Bilzerian. And I honestly, no one really knows how he got his money, and no one knows the exact story. All I can say is his dad had a ton of money, and the money disappeared, and he claimed he was broke. And his son has a ton of money. So I mean, I don't see how they could have gotten away with that, but at the same time, I don't see where the money went, except for, I don't know. And frankly, like, I don't really care that much.
I don't care either. Like
I don't really care. And I think that people that are just like getting like really upset about it, like, I think they've got the wrong attitude because I don't really care where the money came from. I just also want to be real that like this probably wasn't all poker, and that's okay. That's the first thing. Second thing, I've actually met Dan. I've played a little bit of Heads Up with Dan like a few years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he's definitely an interesting guy. I remember folding kings to him in a spot that after he showed me nothing, I regret the fold. But anyway, I think he's great for poker. I think that when people see him, they see like that lifestyle. They see, the entourage of beautiful women and like all of the cool stuff. I don't really like the guns aspect, but other than that, like everything else is pretty cool, right?
I mean, I definitely agree. I wish there were more people in poker like him, but it's really hard for someone to get good at poker and be that obsessed with living the life, though, because that's just a massive leak that usually leads to most people not making it in poker. But when you start off playing poker at 500, 1K for your first session, and you have a 200,000, I don't know, like a 1,000 buy and roll. I mean, you can learn on the fly.
Well, I think the most important thing is who's he playing versus, right?
No one knows.
I mean, exactly.
No one knows. That's what's good. That's the great thing.
He's playing people where he like for sure will have an edge.
Debatably. But he can also just tell everybody he wins. Like he could be losing, and if he's losing, who's gonna say he's losing? No one's gonna come out and be like, no, dude, this guy's a fucking liar. He didn't make 50 million playing poker. He comes and loses so much money. I love this guy. No one's gonna say that if he's losing.
Right.
And if he's winning, no one's probably gonna come out and say that either. And if they do come out and say that somewhere, they're saying it in a very small circle where it's never really gonna reach a platform where people are going to even notice it for the most part.
Right.
So it's, those people are, I imagine if you're smart enough to get in a game that Dan Bilzerian is in, that you're smart enough to keep the results and what's happening on the low.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. For sure.
so do you think that the way he's handling, because I think he might have even mentioned this too, is that the way he's been doing his Instagram marketing is a strategy behind it. There is logic behind it, and like, what do you think about that? Like,
I think he's doing a fantastic job.
so what do you think? Like,
if we're here talking about him, right?
True. Mm-hmm.
And people are listening to everything he has to say and like hating him or whatever. I think he's doing a damn good job of marketing.
So where do you think that he? I mean, we don't obviously know, but where do you think he's trying to go with all this? Like, I don't know. I don't see where I guess it leads to. It just leads to like, what kind of people do you think are gonna want to be around him in the future that know him from all this stuff? Like, do you think it's just the same as being any type of celebrity, or do you think it's a unique type of celebrity that he's attained?
Well, he was also dating that Playboy model too before, right? What was her name?
I can't remember. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. I mean, obviously he dates a lot of women that have fake boobs and look very similar. Maybe not too unlike someone I know, but it's neither here nor there. But
yeah, no, they were dating for a while, and like I remember hearing some stuff about that where like I really think that a big part of that was they were both just trying to kind of like make each other more like it was kind of a relationship that was built around. I could be totally wrong, so I have no idea. But it was kind of a relationship built around them like helping establish each other, sort of, you know.
So you think that this has been an idea? This has been something he's wanted to do for a while, probably. He's wanted to get to this level.
Certainly seems like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Certainly seems like that.
And I think, I don't think he has any intention of like doing this to help promote poker at all. I don't think that's his goal, but I think that that's what's gonna happen, and I love it. I love talking, because there's like people that go to my gym that like when I talk about poker, they're like, hey, this Dan Bilzerian guy? Did you see this video? I'm like, oh fuck yeah, guys, that guy's the best poker player in the world, man. You should try to be like him. You know what I mean? Like he should be your poker. He should be your idol if you play poker.
I mean, I'm all for it. Like, let's just have Bilzerian as like the poker ambassador, right?
I totally agree. Who would someone say? I think Greg Popham said that he would be he's a way better poker ambassador than Negreanu. I can't agree more. I think that's so true.
When Bilzerian was like the moderator in the high stakes forum?
Yeah, for a little bit, yeah.
He was just like banning people and just like calling people out, and like he just has so many great stories. I think he's great for poker, and I love his like whole facade. But it is a facade.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, the image he is trying to portray is not how things went. And even though that doesn't matter, it's still great for poker.
So the image, you meaning the image that he's trying to portray, that he won money from poker, won his money from poker.
Right. That / like the date, like the overall, the whole thing is like, is not how he actually lives and is not real, right?
Well, what I think, so I'm not quite sure, because I feel like the narrative's changed. From like it started out as that he was a trust fund guy who also plays poker, but like it's definitely changed, and I'm not sure if that's because of him, if that's because sites decided to stop writing about that, but I feel like the narrative now is definitely that he made his money from poker. Like, the trust fund thing has stopped being brought up in articles, and I thought it was, I wasn't sure if that was him influencing that, or if maybe someone stopped writing about it and then other websites picked up on it, and you know what I mean? Like,
well, I definitely would imagine that he is playing a large role as to why that changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, he wants that image
instead of having money given to you, money earned.
Well, right. I mean, like, it's not like very cool to just like get a bunch of money from your dad.
It really isn't. No.
This guy is so sick. His dad gave him like a ton of money.
I know, yeah. Whereas this guy's so sick, what? I'm getting distracted here, but yeah, he's guy's so sick he plays poker and makes false money, hangs out with these women. But he actually seems like he dates one of the women. If you follow like the photos, there's always one woman that shows up everywhere with him, right. And I'm guessing they're together, but I don't know. I was wondering, how does that work? Like, there's always naked. Like, how does that work?
I mean, dude, like, you've read like the beating up the hooker story, right?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, clearly, even when he's in a relationship, things are still going down.
Yeah, and I'm like,
So
what kind of? I mean, I know I've met the kind of women that don't care about that, or they care, but they don't care enough to say anything about that. And usually, there's a direct correlation to drugs involved. So,
yeah.
and if I had to speculate, Hollywood, naked people, women, I've met a lot of women in my time to know that
You?
there's probably a little bit of drug use going on in that part of town, and drugs really they make your
I mean, Bilzerian has openly said that like he's done like tons of blow, right? I think
yeah,
that's
those when you get addicted to drugs, you start liking drugs. That just totally alters the way you approach life, think about life, the people you keep around you, the opportunities you go for. So
that's not really the kind of the image that I guess has been like it seems like to me. The image that I get is more that like he just does his thing, right?
yeah, I don't think that's the image that is being written about. Cause I don't think it's necessarily something that people want to talk about. Like, yeah, I have these people over my house. We're doing Molly and Coke all weekend long. My little bro's watching this. Bro, chill. Okay, don't do any of this stuff ever unless I'm there. But yeah, I mean, I don't, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I would love. Dan's one of my favorite people in poker. I would love at some point in time, once I start doing a little bit more video series, to do a nice week in the life with Dan, a real week in the life. Get behind the scenes a bit. Get down to
So basically, what you're telling me is you want to do drugs and hang out for a week.
I mean,
You
no.
don't even need Dan, all right? You can just come over here. We'll go out and like, I got you. How about a week in the life of Doug? That's not that bad.
No, well, I think a week in life with you that'd be really fun. It'd be boring because you're married now, and I'm married too, so that'd be extremely boring. We'd be just like sitting around talking podcast strategy and equities and TPT heads up and talking about eating food or something like that. But I think a weekend with him would be a little bit more fun. I think he's the kind of guy, if he's in a relationship, he's not necessarily, he might have some fun outside of that. So I'd like to be there to
I'm gonna remember this.
document it. I think I'm excited to see the path that what happens with him, because I think he's extremely interesting. Obviously, he's a very captivating, polarizing person in general, especially in poker. So I'm curious where it goes from here. I think something happens. Whether it's fake or real, that is like a TMZ type of moment where he gets written about more, and then it goes from there. So just got to figure out what happens next.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
I'm excited. Doesn't he hang out with? He's friends with one of your friends. I'm not sure if you're friends with him anymore. You were kind of friends with him, Jay, right? The second place guy in World Series of Poker.
Oh yeah, they hang out a bunch. I actually haven't talked to Jay much in the past year and a half. But
yeah. You think?
Yeah.
How do you think the second place World Series of Poker finish has affected his life or him in general? You think it?
I'm not sure. I mean, it obviously helped him a ton. He definitely won money or won a bunch of money and gained like kind of more of a following. So I'm not totally sure. I don't know exactly how much of himself he had though.
Mm-hmm. But it also probably helped where they kept mentioning the nightclub promotion nonstop on ESPN, where now if you're like some noob who watched that and you're going to Vegas, you might be more inclined to want to hit him up because
Oh yeah, definitely.
he kind of knows. I don't really follow him on Twitter, Instagram anymore, so I'm not quite sure what exactly he's up to. But
Right.
I have
Yeah,
some.
but then I think right afterwards he was like, yeah, buying a house and these cars and all this stuff. But like,
Yeah.
like I mean, after taxes and shares of like buy-ins, like you got to make some responsible decisions. Like I've had some big scores, and then I kind of realized that like in like the grand scheme of like the world, I'm really not like that big of a deal,
Yeah. Right.
And like you really need to kind of be conservative and like enjoy the nice things, but like at the same time kind of be a realist and realize like, hey, even if I have like 1 or 2 million, like
It's not that
that's not
unique or
that
special.
that much,
I think that he kind of comes off as the type of person who wants that lifestyle. He wants to have, because I mean, I imagine that's what happened. If you're around nightclubs all the time and you're working with all these rich people that come to town, that you're taking them out. You see all the money they have, how careless they might spend money. I think that has an effect on you as a person where you're like, well, I probably deserve some. Like, why do these guys have money? They're not any better than me. And
Yeah.
I think that yeah, I think he probably is getting a little.
Yeah, it's certainly had an effect. Um, I mean, it definitely had an effect on like the way he's living his life.
Yeah,
And I mean, good for him, man. Like every year I play the main event.
I know.
I'm never at the final table. Like,
I know. I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty exciting, especially like a local Vegas person won. It's probably going to influence a lot more local. I'm sure it already has. It probably influenced more people that might have been locals in Vegas to start dabbling in poker. Or I
yeah,
think a guy like him who is an American guy, like a guy who likes to work out. I think that probably had some influence on similar people like himself too, where they were like, well, this guy plays poker, he like nightclub promoter, like nothing really essentially unique about his situation. He's not like one of the nerdy guys who's just smart. It's how he did it. So I would guess some people probably gotten from poker just from watching him and thinking that that could be them too, which is great.
yeah. Anytime that the average person thinks that they can like kind of do it, it's good for poker.
I agree.
There's no doubt about that.
Let's hit a couple.
I mean, look at Joeingram1 right here in the flesh.
What's that mean?
I'm just
Well, I'm in
saying.
the suburbs. I'm in the suburbs of Indiana. I'm married. I'm on a live stream with you right now. What does that mean?
Yeah. Hey man, living the life.
I had my time. I mean, depending on your version of living the
You got
life.
the shirt, you got the shirt, you got the bottle.
If your idea of living the life is waking up anytime you want, working as hard as or not as hard as you want, getting better at things, and having freedom to do most things that you want to do, debatably living the life. If your idea of living the life
I think that that's living the life.
is naked women, drugs, free money in a penthouse in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, then I'm currently not living the life. No, but it depends on your version of what the life is.
That is true.
That's it.
I'm
I got like this question, Doug.
yo.
Doug, do you have an edge over Bill Perkins? Now, anybody doesn't know, Bill Perkins is like this notorious, used to be like a pretty big fishy business guy that played high stakes, and I would imagine he probably got a slightly better, but unsure of that. Doug, do you have an edge over Bill Perkins?
It may be close. We probably need to get some sample first.
Have you ever played with Bill Perkins before?
No,
He seems very fun.
no, I'm not. I think I might have. Wait, hold on. I think I actually might have played a tournament with him. Um, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Seems like fun. So you don't really have much.
I don't really have much of an opinion on that one.
Okay. Why is notoriety good? I believe we talked about this last week a bit. Why is notoriety good? How is it profitable for you?
It allows you to get into more games. It allows you to pick up sponsorships. It allows you to have more options for people that you can kind of reach out to get like either like articles out there or to like get your name into stuff or to like get into like live cash games or whatever. It basically just like lets you be more marketable, allow you to sell your brand more, and allows you to have more opportunities to make money.
I think that would be the customary answer I would expect you to give. Is there anything other special
I mean, the
reason that
fanboys,
you might want to get you particularly? I know that's like why people should want to get notoriety or why it's profitable, but is there any? We already established you don't like playing live poker, live cash, so getting into games.
because on the forums, everyone's gonna think that I'm so cool and that they're gonna love me.
That's true. I think that mattered a lot more to us when we were younger.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I find now, like, I just say a lot of things sometimes that it's a very poor thing to say if you want people to like you. It's just very controversial, and most people, if you have an opinion that's irrational, crazy, psychotic, most people aren't necessarily drawn to that. And I find myself doing that too often. I'll start arguing with somebody for no reason. It's just I don't necessarily. I cared a lot more about that when I was younger. I know you cared a lot about that too when you were younger, because you're not super active on 2+2 anymore. When you could be if you wanted to
Yeah, I mean,
cultivate a certain.
someone in NVG is gonna hate me for anything that I say or do. I just know that now. I think when I first started posting on 2+2, I really tried to make friends and like didn't want anyone to attack me. But the thing is, like, it reaches a point where there's just so many people and like so many like opinions. Like, you're not gonna make everyone happy. You know, you just gotta like do your thing and not care what like some guy who's got like 30 posts in NVG thinks about like your deep heads up no limit game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that part of my life is like kind of gone a little bit. I still try to like be there for talk to some fans occasionally and like respond to people if they like, message me and everything.
You do it very randomly.
Yeah, I mean like I guess it kind of depends on how giving of a mood I'm into.
That's how it works for me. Sometimes I just post. I'll like answer something or answer a question, but most of the time I don't know, man. I don't really have much of a desire to post a lot sometimes. Oh.
Well, I mean, you do like the spotlight, though.
I mean, that's interesting because if I liked the spotlight, I feel like I could make myself famous in some way for something if I really liked the spotlight. But, I mean, I've been living in Indiana for the past 10 months. I don't necessarily know how much I can like the spotlight. Like, wouldn't I be somewhere... I used to think that about myself, like I might have wanted a spotlight, but I think for the most part, I like the being known for what I've done with, my challenges in poker, or like, I like just being known at necessarily just something poker related for the most part. Like, I don't really try to be like, the guy that plays poker who also might like get a bunch of women or likes to rage constantly. Like, I'm not really promoting all that aspect of myself, whereas I think if I wanted spotlight, I could do that too. Like, I could do a miniature Dan Bilzerian approach to notoriety or fame in poker, but for the most part, I don't really do that. So
is your argument here you didn't want the spotlight, so you started doing a podcast?
No, I think I did. I started doing PLO podcast because I genuinely wanted people to become more interested in PLO, and I thought it would help attract new people to PLO, which I feel like it definitely has done. And that's kind of what I thought there was just something missing in the podcast world in terms of PLO, and that was the initial reason I wanted to do it. And then I wanted to do this podcast with you because I knew you were trying to build yourself up in a certain way, and I think this is a really great platform. It's a very unique platform for you to be able to do that because you can say anything you want. You're talking to someone who you have a good relationship with that you're going to come off really well, in my opinion, for the most part. So I think it's like a great thing to do. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people that are well known should kind of do it. It's like a little thing. Like there's there was 2,800 views in the last one. How many of those are actual views and not just people randomly clicking? Is unsure. But I think it's like a cool thing if you like stumble on this podcast. You're like, oh, Doug Polk, WCGRider. Like, I love that guy. Like, he's good at results. And then people get to hear about you, and then I think it kind of becomes their thing where it's like, oh, I listen to this podcast that he does. Not many people listen to it, but like, it's something that people can really enjoy and like, take a kind of a something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mainly just pulling your chain, man. Like, I think.
I know that. No, but I don't think you're wrong. I think that I've thought that about myself, and I know there are people for sure think that. Like, why do I post? Why would I post graphs? Why do I do prop bets? Why do I do these podcasts? Like, I'm sure that's something that people think is that I want to be whatever from whatever, like famous or something. But I mean, I think I could, if I wanted to be famous, I could be famous for something for sure. It's not hard. So.
Yeah.
But I don't really think I have the drive.
I think it's pretty hard to be famous for things.
I disagree.
All right, well let's
different levels of fame.
I'm thinking prop bet. What do you want to be famous at, Joey?
We prop betting, kid. I'll get famous at something. I'm already putting in 8 hours of music a day. You want me to get famous for music? I can get famous for music. What do you want me to get famous for?
Music, huh?
I could get famous. I could do the same thing Dan Bilzerian is doing on a bit smaller scale. I could literally do the exact same thing he's doing.
I'll think.
And I would pimp it out so much more. I could get chills to post on all kind of fucking forums. I would pay websites to write about it. Like, I mean, I could get famous. You'd have to pay for it, but you could do it if you have money. I feel like you could get famous if you have a skill at something.
I'll think about this between now and our next podcast.
Okay, I don't want to do it. I've wanted to do it. I don't really want to do it anymore. Especially if I'm in a relationship. There's no real purpose to get famous. I mean,
all right, sounds good.
For the most part. Ask Doug. All right, next question. Ask Doug, Ask Doug, what's the attraction of huge fake boobs?
I think that this speaks for itself.
I don't know. Some
um,
people, well, I think the people that say they don't like fake boobs haven't necessarily got to caress a nice pair of boobs day in, day out, over and over again. Their only experience with fake boobs is probably strip clubs. So,
yeah, like not all fake boobs are the same too.
completely agree with that.
There's if you're thinking about like the like really bad boob jobs where it's like a rock and they just like it doesn't feel very nice, and yeah, that obviously sucks. But like if a girl gets like a really good boob job, they're gonna be like very soft and well proportioned and they're gonna be solid. They're gonna be solid. I don't. It's kind of hard. It's a hard question as to like what about them is attractive. I mean, like I think that's just like part of the female anatomy that's visually stimulating, right?
I don't think I like them though. I think I like girls with boobs that are a bit bigger but real.
That
Now,
has a lot of problems too, though.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't want to go into my experience with fake boobs because I have I have um I have a good sample size I'm judging this off of, and I think that's the decision I've come to with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's go to the next fucking question.
I've had really really good experiences with that. So, um, also I just like that more. I mean, it also kind of boils down to like what do you like, It's a personal
Yeah,
preference.
I think that's very true. Let me find another question. Now, let's see here.
All right, we can do like a couple more. I gotta go to dinner here, and
Yeah, we'll do a couple more here. Then I'll
all right,
edit this thing up.
sounds good.
Put it out tomorrow on a Thursday at April 11th. Okay. Comments were there. No. Let's take this out. I think Matt Catchkin asked the question. He said, "How do I approach attractive girls in seedy places?" Which I don't think you just talk to them, but
Armed.
yeah.
um, that's quite the question. What do you think, Joey?
Well, if I'm in a seedy place, I don't never really been in a seedy place, but if I happen to be in a seedy place, I wouldn't.
Go for it.
I'd be with people I already knew and probably a girl that I already had a special relationship with for the night. So I don't think that I don't think that I would approach a random girl in that situation.
Yeah.
But I don't really hang out in those situations that often, to be honest.
Oh, I have a random question for you. Do you know a place in Vancouver called the Red Room?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes? Because
Why?
I stumbled across that one night.
That is in yeah, that is in Gastown, right?
Yeah, and it's like underneath like the building.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
like an underground rave area.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
that
looking at
was
the
that
map
was an
real quick.
interesting night.
Who'd you go there with?
Um, it was like a year ago, I would say,
Uh-huh.
and I was like in Vancouver with some people. Actually, I was playing 2950 on Stars, and some guy sat me in full ring, and we started playing Heads Up. And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go drinking," and I saw his location was Canada, and I was like, "Oh yeah, like what city?" He's like, "Oh, Vancouver," and so we just met up. Um, and like there was, it was like a couple people, but yeah, I just ended up going out, and by the end of it, I was just by myself. And I just like wanted to keep raging, so I just like uh, did drugs all night and went to this rave. Yeah, true story.
So did you like Red Room?
It was real busto.
Yeah, it
Real
is
busto.
pretty. I think there's not really a nice club in Vancouver for the most part.
Any place you go to, like that was like underground though.
Yeah.
That's not really a club.
There's a couple places like that in Vancouver that like definitely don't show up on a map that I've been to that are pretty similar. They're like a club, but they're like a place you go like after hours type of thing.
Yeah.
We could do a very sick podcast on raging in Vancouver. I mean, oh my gosh, I had some interesting situations there. That was some of the best time. That's how I celebrated that 250K upswing I went on there for a couple weeks.
Heyo.
I celebrated, and then I went on a on a very lost a lot of that back. Celebration does not lead to good results at poker IMO.
I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah. So let's. I think we kind of did. We touch on everything we wanted to talk about here, Doug, today.
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we got everything. Where are you going to dinner tonight? You going out with the girlfriend?
Yeah, we were gonna get sushi.
We actually did miss a couple of things. But we'll talk about that next time. When are we going to do the next podcast? People are clamoring. The people are interested.
Let me know. I mean, can't keep the people waiting.
The guys want to know, and I want to know. I want to give people a behind-the-scenes look at how we organize this podcast. What happens is I message you. You don't message me back for like a day or two. You message me back.
I'm busy.
You're not fucking. What are you doing?
I'm busy.
You're not busy doing shit, man. You sit around. You sit around. You like watch porn. You're not doing anything. But okay, that's what happens. I message you. You don't message me back for like a day. You message me back. I message you back like the next day. Eventually, we talk about maybe doing a podcast, and then today you're like, "Yo, you want to do a podcast tonight?" I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." Like that's all it is. I can do it anytime. Like I said, I've said this numerous times. I'm married. I live in Indiana. I can do a podcast anytime as long as I'm awake, and I'm normally awake. So I like doing them. We can do them once every couple of these.
We'll pump another one out in the next week or two. Okay?
Let's pump one out because the people want to hear more about
They're clamoring.
They're clamoring. I mean, they're salivating. I get a lot of messages. When's the next podcast with Doug going up? When's the next TLO podcast going up? Joe, we want to hear more of you. We love you. We want to marry you. We want to have your children. We want to see you with your shirt off. Like I get the weirdest messages. I mean, and this might be false or fake or real or true or false, but
it's actually me on an alias.
I believe it. You have a lot of free time. We've established this already.
All right.
So, all right. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up then. So this has been episode 2 of the Power Poker Podcast with me and Doug Polk, WCGRider. If you'd like to stay tuned for updates, you can follow me at Joeingram1 or Doug at Doug Polk Poker. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Joeingram1. And yeah, we're gonna live stream the next time we do this. We might have Doug on a live stream cam as well, so you can get to see his beautiful face. And
biceps. I'm flexing right now, by the way.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a buy off or something, like a bicep buy off, a bicep off. Buy off. I don't know. That sounds weird. Let's not do that. But yeah, so next time, if you guys want to join in, we'll be live streaming. I will try to give more of a heads up on when that's going to happen. You can get a little behind the scenes, unedited version of the recording. And yeah, be a lot of fun. Ask questions. And yeah, tune in next time. Thank you for joining.
Adios.
That's it. Cool. All right, we're going to sushi. Venetian?
Kabuto.
Where's that?
It's in Chinatown. It's like on.
Oh, so you're going to like a hood. You're in like a hood.
No. It's actually like the best place.
What's it called? How do you spell it?
Kabuto.
Kabuta. That can't be right.
T-O.
T-O Vegas.
Kabuto.
I don't know. We went to after EDC. We were staying at the Wynn, and we walked over to Palazzo, and there was like the sickest place we had food there. That was upstairs. It was sushi, and it was so good. Have you ever been there? Palazzo
Sushi Samba.
Was it? Man, it sounds generic, but I loved it. Whatever it was. It was like we didn't go to EDC the last day, and we just went there, and it was like we were in love. It was like 11 p.m. We're just like sushi. Fuck yeah! I mean, we didn't eat anything.
By the way, buy off is the gayest thing I've ever heard.
I know. That's what I thought too. I was like, let's have a buy off where we just flex our biceps at each other.
It has the word buy in it.
Well, I think buy has a negative connotation to it. I don't actually think it's that bad of a word.
Yeah.
I think buy.
All right, man.
Buy.
I will. Speaking of buy.
Jason, whoa! We had a late addition to the chat. The man who loves his hookers and loves his food, Jason Moe. You guys are gay. Tell Doug to show some titties. Well, we're gonna leave Jason Moe with his food and hookers for the night. Jason, join us next time, my friend. Show up earlier.
Maybe we could have special guest Jason Moe. What about that?
Oh my fucking god! What would that be? What would that be? Can you?
Okay.
I'm gonna
and like he just needs to like pick his like list of like top 3 people he hates.
Okay.
And like we'll just go from there.
So I'm gonna pretend to be Jason Moe real quick. What does his voice sound like? I need his voice first, and I'll do Jason Moe.
I don't really like. I don't
Is it
really.
an Asian voice? Like, hello? No.
No.
Well, let's pretend that's Jason's voice. So, hi, hello, what's up? What's up, fucker, dog? What's up, Joe? You guys doing a fucking podcast? That sounds.
Screen rating. I'll just get out of the way.
All right, dude. I'll see you soon. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me on the live stream. And that'll be it. Adios. Jason Les. Enjoy your time alive, my friend. See you guys later.